The RAM shortages are out of control. The pricing is crazy, and it's going to last now for the next couple of years. So gaming as a hobby is becoming more and more luxurious. It's pushing a lot of people out of the space. Even right now, when you take a look at the prices of the consoles, you have the PS5 Pro coming in. I think it's like 700 or 750, even higher in other places of the world. The lowest price you're paying in US dollars is probably for the Xbox Series S at about 300, and then a PS5 Slim is still like $450. So pricing of consoles have obviously gone up. This generation, we've seen multiple price raises, and it's potentially going to get a lot worse going forward into the next generation. If you take a look at the PS5 Pro, I would say that is the base price, the floor price going into next gen. But things could be getting worse right now with what is happening with the RAM prices. They are surging. It is making the gaming hobby more of a luxury and pushing more people out of the market. And it is sounding like this is going to be lasting for the next year or so, 2 years, as they're reporting that this could last at least until the Q4 of 2027, which would bring us right to the point where if you take a look at the console life cycles, that would be the time that the next generation consoles are going to be coming out from Xbox and from PlayStation, which would mean those things are going to be very expensive unless they're already buying up all of the RAM before the prices raise. And they're already building these things and getting them ready in preparation for a 2027 release. I would be doubtful at this point as we are 2 years out. But if this is the case, RAM surging all the way through Q4 2027, the next generation is going to be a very, very interesting place. And then you start thinking about the different strategies and why locking down stuff to a console, locking down stuff to a singular box is not going to be a winning strategy. I mean, we've been hearing rumors about what PlayStation is doing as well, whether you want to believe it or not, them putting Steam on their console and opening up their ecosystem. That would be something that makes more sense as prices do go up. But we have this here from WCCF Tech saying memory shortage to last till at least Q4 2027. Higher prices expected throughout 2026 and 2027. You have a 256 gigabyte DDR4 kits retail for over $3,000, which is crazy. Then the entry level DDR5 32 gigabyte kits for over $300. And this is just the beginning. I know people have been looking at RAM and thinking, I'll just wait a few months until the prices die down. That's not going to be the case. In fact, during Black Friday and then upcoming Boxing Day, I mean, there may be some sales, and although it'll still be expensive, that would be probably the cheapest you're going to be getting these things for the next 2 years. As from what the sounds of it is, the brand prices are going to continue to ramp up. Now, they say here, what we have heard is that memory shortages across all products, including DDR5 and DDR4 memory, will last at least until Q4 2027. And we haven't entered 2026 yet. And our sources are saying that these shortages will last for 2 years from now. This kind of does remind me of the console shortage, although the console shortage when the Series X and PS5 dropped, the prices were still reasonable. They weren't going up in price, and they stayed stagnant for a while until they eventually did go up years later. But that was more of an inventory shortage where you weren't outbidding, or the prices at retail weren't going crazy. You were obviously paying a lot if you're buying it secondary, but you could still, if you waited and tried to grab a console when it did come into the stores or get online, you would be paying whatever the MSRP was. They say here, this means that consumers shouldn't expect prices of various tech products to return to normal till late 2027 or even 2028. The problem is that DRAM goes into two key PC products, memory kits and GPUs, and both have already seen prices be hiked. And the answer is AI. The surging AI demands means that these centers have bigger demand for memory. And you're seeing companies just look at this and saying, yeah, we're making all of our money by sending these to the companies that are running these AI data centers. You even had Micron pull out basically of the consumer side of things, knowing that they don't need to worry about that when they're going to be making a shit ton of money from sending their RAM to these data centers. So now you have SK Hynix and Samsung, who are going to be also providing their products to the data centers for AI, but they will be the main consumer products for RAM. And they're going to basically be able to control the prices of this stuff. So it's going to get even worse than that. But this comes via the team group general manager Chen Kingwen, saying, "We have indeed observed noticeable upward pressure on prices across the NAND and DRAM markets. The current situation is not merely a matter of price fluctuations, but a result of unprecedented supply shortage, primarily driven by surging demand for AI and DDR5 server problems. In addition, as data storage demand in data centers continues to grow while hard drive manufacturers have yet to expand production, whole data storage has gradually shifted towards SSDs, further tightening NAND flash supply. And with wafer foundries and component suppliers already operating near full capacity, all categories of DRAM products, including DDR5, LPDDR5, GDDR6, GDDR7, and DDR4, are facing widespread shortages, and the supply-demand imbalance is expected to persist through at least the first half of next year. And while the market remains dynamic, we continue to leverage strong partnerships and agile inventory management to maintain supply stability and strengthen our foundation for future growth." So that's what they are saying about this. Now, you take a look at some of these prices, you can kind of see just how crazy that they have gone just over the last 2 to 3 months. You have here pricing almost $100 more for a lot of these. So you have 16 gigabytes DDR4, 3200 RAM went from 50 to 120. And then you have some of bigger fluctuations here, like with the DDR5 stuff, the 6064 gigabyte RAM from $210 to $750, all here in December of 2025. So from May to December, over $100 price raises depending on the RAM that you want. So it's pretty nuts, and that will potentially continue to go up. But where does this leave the market? Where does this leave gamers and everything? Well, the reality is it is pushing gamers more out of buying hardware. And the gaming industry potentially has set themselves up to actually be okay with this. Like, we look at consoles and everything, if those stop selling tomorrow because they're so expensive, gamers would still find ways and be able to play games with all the things that are available out there via the cloud, via the subscription stuff, older hardware, backwards compatibility, huge back catalog of games that are still being sold across multiple generations. That's where things are going to happen. And if you take a look at going into next generation, we see the prices of the current PS5 Pro and then potentially the PS6, which is going to be very expensive. And we also see the crossover from generation to generation, how it lasts longer and longer. And the PS5 right now selling about as good as the PlayStation 4, maybe a tiny bit less. Is that going to continue going into the PlayStation 6? PlayStation, they must be looking at this stuff and seeing that they're going to have to price the PS6 even higher than they did for the PS5. That will have an effect of how many people actually make the jump over to the PS6 and the length of time people actually do stay on the PS5. They're already preparing for the PS5 to last many more years, probably throughout the majority of the PlayStation 6 generation. So that crossover generation is going to be even longer going forward because of how expensive this type of stuff is going to be. The other thing that is very interesting is people said that Xbox is not making any more hardware and all this stuff. And we've seen prices of the Xbox hardware go up. And a lot of this is probably pricing in the increase in the component costs and not really wanting to subsidize it anymore because the Xbox Series X and S hasn't sold extremely well. Well, it looks like they have actually saved another price raise here, as they have made a deal with Foxconn to expand Xbox manufacturing by 4.8 million devices per year. And one of the main reasons they would be doing this is simply because GTA 6 is coming out and they want to make sure that Xbox consoles are going to be available for people to buy and to go and play the game on. So this is a lot of this as well is because of tariffs, and it got more expensive to manufacture. So that's why prices did go up as well. That's another thing that plays into it. But we have here, whether it's Xbox stock supply issues or tariffs triggering the price hikes, Xbox Series X and S can't catch a break. And we've seen the price hikes, but now a new report from Reuters says that electronic manufacturing heavyweights Foxconn and Luxshare have submitted planning proposals to local authorities aimed specifically at growing their video game console footprint. And Fusion Technology, part of Foxconn, is seeking production permits specifically for Microsoft Xbox gaming devices. And they say here that Fusion aims to scale up 4.8 million additional Xbox gaming devices as part of the permit, which likely includes the Series X and S consoles, official Xbox controllers, accessories like the official Xbox headset, and possibly even Xbox Cloud gaming server tech. So there you have it. So they're going to be increasing their manufacturing for Xbox consoles. I think a lot of this has to do with Grand Theft Auto 6, and also they don't want to raise the price again. I know that when they do raise the price, there's a lot of takes on this. They could eat the cost, but they don't care about eating the cost. It does seem like anymore because it isn't their primary way of making money throughout the Xbox ecosystem by pushing a console out to people. So they're just putting it out there and people who want it will buy it. But now with this, looks like they won't have to raise the price again and they will be putting more out there. I wonder if at any point between now and next year, will a price decrease happen if they're able to manufacture enough and try to sell as many as they can so people are end up playing Grand Theft Auto 6 and then that would potentially lock them in to the ecosystem further. That will be something interesting to track. Or do they just keep the prices the same knowing that people are going to buy these things regardless because that's how big and powerful a game like Grand Theft Auto 6 is. I could see that absolutely happening. But hardware, it's a luxury. It's becoming more and more of a luxury. And it seems like over the next 2 years, it could be getting worse. And the timing of all this is going to have an impact on the launch of the next generation. So we think it's going to be expensive, maybe even higher than what we expect because of everything that is happening. So I just want to talk about that because crazy times here in the hardware space and the pricing and where things are going. And again, luckily, as I talk about on this channel all the time, there are so many other ways to play. There's free games, there's sales, there's cloud. So it's not like if you want to play games, the price raises are going to stop that from happening. It's just not going to give you the ultimate experience, the ultimate hardware experience where you're getting everything at the highest end, which you want a good piece of hardware to be able to do that. But I'm going to end the video there. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.